You're listening to the Chat Network. Let's welcome our guest because we don't want to waste even a second with this guy. Let me tell you that. Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing?
Walaikum assalam. How's it? I'm good and you?
I am good, Zaid. I'm good. I mean, we were last week. We missed out. So yeah, you've left everybody wanting more. We've had such a good response to the show. Let me tell you.
Wow, excellent. That's good to hear.
Yes.
Encouraging.
So we need to be talking today about self-esteem. And yeah, what is the definition of self-esteem? Let's just get straight into it.
Oh boy. The only thing I think that's important about that is the self part. Because we keep losing sight of the fact that it's self-esteem. It's not the esteem others place on you.
Oof.
Right? So it's not about what others think of me. It's about what I think of myself.
Yes.
So my self-esteem is mine to own.
My self-esteem is mine to own. But then what affects self-esteem? Like, I get that's the definition. The definition is, the textbook definition is the overall opinion and belief you have about yourself, reflecting your sense of self-worth and value. What impacts the way you feel about yourself, your sense of self-worth and your value?
Well, I think if we just keep it simple, right? If it talks about value, then and self-esteem or self-worth is the other way we describe it as well, right? It basically says that I believe that I have a certain amount of value that I can offer, that I can introduce or present to the people around me. So, what am I worth to those around me? And if I don't know myself well enough, then I'm going to be deciding on what that worth is relative to how they treat me.
Right.
So, how people treat me, if I don't know why it is that they're treating me that way, I'm going to automatically assume it's because of what they think I am worth to them. And if I don't know what I'm worth myself, then I'm going to take that as okay. So that means I don't have much worth. I'm not valuable. I don't matter. And then my self-esteem then takes a dip.
If your self-esteem has taken a dip and you have low self-esteem, how does that affect your interaction with the rest of the world?
In a massive way, everything we do, every single thing we do, I can argue it comes down to what we think of ourselves in that moment, right? And in that moment is the important part again, because self-esteem is not consistent. I'm not going to have the same self-esteem at work as I am going to have at home, as I am going to have with my friends, as I am going to have in a place that I've, interests or hobbies or sports or things like that. So my self-esteem within the context of what I'm dealing with right now is relative to what I think I am capable of contributing.
That is very interesting because it affects every area of your life, your work, your relationships, your friendships. It affects like the goals you set for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And how do I know whether I've got a good enough self-esteem? Like, how do I know that I feel good? What are those healthy markers?
Is this where we flip the script?
Yes. Yes.
The moment I'm contemplating whether I'm good or not, I'm not.
Okay.
Right? Because the only way for you to determine that is going to be based on what you think others think of you or some external point of reference. And it's a delicate balance to strike, right? Because it's not about whether I'm good or not, it's about whether I'm effective at what I believe is worth pursuing. So if I think that, say, helping people is a good thing to do, I don't look at, oh, I'm helping people, so I'm a good person. No. I must understand why it is that helping people is important, why it's a valuable thing to make myself available to or to do, right? So if I believe that helping people is what's important, what's valuable, then my effectiveness at being able to help people, I need to be clear about how am I going to measure that. Am I helping them because I feel good, or am I helping them because the help that they need is what I'm actually offering them, not the help I think they should get?
How do we differentiate? It's very difficult because your ego comes in, isn't it?
And that's why the moment you
Yes.
contemplate whether you're a good person or not, you're actually stroking your own ego. You're not actually keeping yourself honest.
Yeah. We walk around saying, I'm a good person, I'm a nice person,
Yeah.
right? But then are you doing what people actually need, or are you doing what you think they should need, or are you projecting?
Yes.
Okay. So is there such a thing as having too much self-esteem? Like too high of a self-esteem?
No, I think self-esteem is reflected in how you showed up in a certain situation. And when I say reflected, I mean It's not something in the moment you can decide, I've got a healthy self-esteem, so this is how I'm going to be. Right? It's a kind of thing where your instinctive reaction to someone's behavior towards you or their words towards you, that instinctive reaction after the fact will reveal what your self-esteem was in that moment. So to keep it simple, if someone passes a snide remark about me, and I go on I become aggressive and I just like climb into them and I tell them exactly what I think of them and I break them down and everything else, then after the fact, when I look back on that situation, I think, why was I so aggressive? That reflects what my self-esteem felt like in that moment. So the only thing that protects you from losing yourself like that is mindfulness and self-awareness in the moment.
Yeah, that's a big word, self-awareness.
Yes. So if your self-awareness is healthy, then you wouldn't contemplate self-esteem. But your self-esteem is displayed. It's on display to others in how you carry yourself. It's not something you can decide, I want to have a healthy self-esteem.
So what shapes your self-esteem? What shapes the way? What contributes to the way you see yourself?
I think you have to have an internal compass, an internal set of values that you're living up to, right? And it must be values that you adopted because you saw why it's important, not because you have to or else. And then that opens up all kind of worms, because then we talk about religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, and they're not the same. And we talk about value systems and cultural norms and traditions and customs and all of these things. So if we don't keep ourselves honest, we'll be doing those things because someone says it's the right thing to do. Not because we believe it's the right thing to do, but because that's what the community says, or society, or our family, or our partner. And that way we end up trying to please others instead of actually doing it because we believe it's really important to do.
Yeah, I have a question because children are growing up in this age where everyone is telling them who they need to be, how they need to be. There's so much of noise around them.
Yes.
How do we raise strong individuals who have good enough self-esteem to make positive decisions in their lives?
I think we first need to understand how self-esteem is originally formed, right? Because up to a point in your life, you don't have self-awareness. You're not equipped to be self-aware, and that's like in your early years, your toddler years, your formative years. So when you get to about the age of 6 or 7, that's when you start becoming aware of, okay, this is who I am and this is how people are reacting to me and whether I like that or not. But that whether I like that or not, what informs that? What gives us insight into whether that's a good thing or not, right? And that's what happens before that. And then we just build on it or we change it after that because now we're consciously engaging and interacting. So what happens before that is that if I believe through my own experiences that I don't matter in the home, with my father, with my mother, with my siblings, I don't matter. The only thing that matters is if I do my chores, if I get good grades, if I don't embarrass them when we're in public. If that's the only thing that matters, then that's not my self-esteem that's being built. That's me being defined by what everything around me says is true about me.
That is powerful. But we set all these goals for children.
Yes.
We say you get A's, you get this, you get that, you need to do this. And once you achieve that, then I'll be happy with you.
Yes.
And that's a mistake.
A massive mistake. Because now we're telling our children that you're only worthy if you achieve these things.
Sure.
So if you don't have a matric, you're not a good human. You're not worthy. You're not worthy of my time. You're a failure. You're a dropout. You're whatever. We've got all these labels. Remember we talked about labels, right? All of these labels start becoming our sense of self.
Absolutely.
And then our internal conversation, and maybe this is a good way to kind of like check ourselves. Your internal conversation, how harsh is that?
That was going to be my next question. Your internal conversation.
Yes.
Who shapes that conversation? Where does that conversation come from?
I think we shape it, but we don't realize that we're shaping it. We shape it based on how it is that we experience interactions and relationships with people that are important to us. And primarily, and this a lot of people don't hear this, but primarily the most important relationship you will ever have in your life, whether you like it or not, is your relationship with your parents.
Ouch.
Aha. And the reason it's the most important relationship you have with them, whether they're present or absent, alive or passed on, or whatever it is, the fact that you know that you come from parents means that what you think they think of you or what you think your value is to them that is what shapes your initial starting point in life.
This is so powerful because when you think about self-esteem, you think about the generics that are thrown at us.
Yes.
Positive self-talk, self-care, negative self-talk, your peer pressure. If you drill down into, you think that your self-esteem is generated by the kind of people you surround yourself with now, and you say no, that is actually something that came about when you were self-aware as a very, very young, like as a child, for example, and it stems from your parents. So you hear
Yes.
your parents' voice in your head, literally.
Yes, and that's why we eventually become like our parents, even though we might not like how our parents treated us.
You imagine. You're sitting
So,
there going, I will never be like my father. I will never be like my mother.
uh-huh.
I'm going to have a different relationship.
And then you realize that children are not as cooperative as you thought you were.
Yeah.
Right? So, the reason that relationship is so important is that, say, for example, even if I don't have a father, right? If I grow up without knowing my father, what I would then yearn to want to get as a sounding board, as validation, as assurance about whether I'm doing it right, am I on the right track, am I adding value, am I figuring this out correctly, am I capable of figuring things out? All of that becomes my narrative in my head about what would my father have said. What would it have been like to have a father? Now, if I grow up without finding an alternate fatherly figure in a mentor or role model or some other family member, that becomes that much more difficult, right? Because now I've got to figure it out myself. And it's not that it's impossible to figure it out yourself. It's just that if you don't realize that that's what you're grappling with, you're going to keep beating yourself up each time you get it wrong.
And how does that influence your relationship?
In a massive way, because then you focus on your best effort and your partner is focused on the kind of results of your best effort. So you keep telling them I'm trying, and they keep saying, yeah, but you keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
How many times have we had this conversation? I told you how many times I don't like this, and you just keep doing it. And you don't realize that you're doing the same thing in different ways in your best effort, but you don't realize that they're experiencing it the same way.
Of course, of course. This is very powerful. I think that when we think about how our parents play a part in our unraveling as a person, in the shaping of us, and then the unraveling of us, and then us repeating the cycle as parents. And just keeping the legacy going. This is very interesting. So we've got Coach Zaid Ismail in the house. Please do send us your WhatsApp 077 280 4792. We'll be back after this. All happy here in studio, especially when we have Coach Zaid Ismail in our midst. I'm telling you, the wisdom that is being shared, you don't want to miss this. So, Coach Zaid, firstly, thank you so much for imparting your pearls of wisdom. And, just tell us, what is it that you actually do?
I literally just try to figure life out. I there's one thing that I always, and I think I mentioned this before in one of our discussions, is that when I get into a discussion with anyone, client or someone else, and they asking me for advice about something, or they're troubled by something, I I need to ensure that I'm as curious as they are about what it is that's causing them to feel that way, right? And the curiosity is critically important, and that's what I just see myself as an extremely curious person, is that I always want to understand why rather than telling people what they must do. Because it's easy. You can go on ChatGPT these days on any AI chatbot, and you can ask it like, how do I fix this, and how do I get over depression and all that. It's going to tell you what to do. It's not going to tell you why you're feeling that way in the first place. So if people understand why they feel that way in the first place, and they just couldn't figure out why, they just don't have the list, they don't have the enthusiasm or the passion for life or for their jobs or whatever it is, and you help them to understand why, immediately they make informed decisions about whether they want to continue with that or try something different.
That's important, knowing the why. And it's refreshing to have that perspective, that know your why. It's not enough to just know, okay, here I am, what are the steps to improve?
Yes.
It's understanding why, or else the cycle gets repeated.
And just on that, right? If I follow someone's step by step guide on how I'm supposed to improve, right? I'm improving according to what they think I should be, not according to what I think I should be. And then I adopt it and I say, okay, well, this is what someone of credibility says is good. So I embrace that, right? But I still don't realize that even though that might be a good thing, it's not sustainable because I don't know who I am without those steps, without those exercises, without those habits that we're supposed to form in 21 days or 60 days and all of that nonsense, right?
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's about understanding, like, okay, I know I had a very unique, and every one of us have had very unique life experiences as children. And if I don't understand how that shaped my perspective of what I think the world holds space for me about, I'm going to go fighting. I'm going to go struggling through life trying to figure out where do I fit in? Where's my safe space? Where's the space where I feel welcomed and appreciated and valued and all of that? And that's what most of us are doing. Most of us are struggling through life trying to feel significant, trying to feel valued.
Trying to feel valued and significant. Now, how would one know that their self esteem is low?
If you constantly find your internal dialogue, your thoughts are always focused on what others think of you, what you think others think of you, what you think others did to you, all of that, you're placing more value on what they thought of you, or what they said about you, or what they did towards you, rather than how you reacted and how you felt about it. Your self-esteem is about whether you believe you're the person that people make you out to be, and that's where it gets complicated, right? Because when people have a problem with me in something I'm doing or something I'm saying, I have to also have hold myself accountable for why it is that I'm coming across that way.
Accountability.
Exactly. I can't, and accountability, remember I said accountability is the greatest elegy of the 21st century,
Yes.
right? Because accountability, if my self esteem is low, then I'm automatically defensive when I'm accountable. Because, like, no, I know how much effort I put into that, and you know how hard I'm trying, so it can't be me. It's not my fault. And then you don't accept accountability for the impact you have while you want to hold others accountable for the impact they have on you. And that's hypocritical.
And that deflection is also defensiveness. It's a defense
It is.
mechanism to highlight how other people are not showing up for you,
Yes.
but not evaluating your role and how you don't show up for people.
And that's the biggest killer of relationships, is that when I hold my partner responsible for how I feel, and I don't have a healthy conversation with them about why I feel that way and about what I would like to see instead or what is important to me and all of that. If I can't have a meaningful conversation on that, and my only point is you always making me angry, you always make me feel like I'm ugly,
Yeah.
you always making me feel like I'm unattractive and all of that. No. No one can make you feel something unless you believe it's true.
That's the thing. That word, you made me.
Yes.
You make me. Can we unpack that statement? You make me. You make me angry. You make me feel like this. You make me like. Can we just that word? You make me. Are we not excusing or assigning? Can anyone make me do anything?
Well, not without your permission, right? And when I say you make me, I'm giving you permission to
Make me.
make me,
Yeah.
right? Do that and I'll show you,
Yeah.
right? I'm giving you permission. Push my button and you'll see what happens,
Yeah.
right? And that's the thing. It's my button. I made it available to you, and I said you can push it, and you decided, okay, I'm going to push it because I don't like the way you're treating me. I don't like this tone of yours and how you're coming across to me. So I'm going to push your button so that you can feel what it's like, and that's where it's like give them a taste of their own medicine kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's because we don't take accountability for who we are and how we feel and how we're showing up. So we automatically assume that the only reason this is the case is because everyone around me is treating me so badly.
And that's the thing. People experience us differently,
Yes,
and they also experience us through their own wounds.
exactly.
So wounded people, like you need to have a filter as well as to who you're gonna let affect you and how.
And well, look at it this way. The same way that I'm expecting them and I'm telling them you make me feel this way and you make me feel that way, I have to accept accountability for the fact that they can also tell me I make them feel this way and I make them feel that way. It goes both ways, right?
Yeah.
So, in an ideal world, right, in some distortion of reality, if both people agree that okay, it's fair for me to say you make me feel this way and you can take accountability for it, and if I tell you that, and if you tell me that I make that you make me feel that way, and all of this, that whole thing, that exchange is about blaming each other, and they agree that this is the way we operate, then that will work for them because there's no conflict of value system,
True.
right? So it doesn't, and that's why you'll see some very like seriously questionably dysfunctional relationships that just work.
Yeah.
And they work because they're both on the same page
In their dysfunction.
in their dysfunction, right? So if I think that this is okay, and you also think it's okay, but like the rest of society might look at us and think like you guys are twisted. It doesn't matter because in our home it works,
It's our okay.
right? It's our okay.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's that when couples have difficulties, it's because they have conflicting value systems that they don't realize are conflicting. So that self-esteem thing, that is a reflection of your value system.
Yes.
And if you don't realize what your value system is about, you're going to blame everyone else for what it is that you can't achieve in life.
And I'm sure you'll be offended by every action. I mean, you just like, look at how this person
Yes.
is treating me. You know, don't they know this is normal? My question to people is, what is normal?
Exactly. Who decides what normal is?
Define normal for me. What is normal?
And then when you have eventually achieve normal,
Yeah.
well, let me know how exciting is your life. Because normal is boring. Boring as hell.
You know, that is the thing. I mean, you people say you're not normal. You know, this is not normal, and you're not your definition of normal. It's not my definition of normal.
Exactly.
What is normal anyway?
And why should I have to be normal, right? Because, it's that old saying that says that I want to be unique, just like everyone else.
Jeez. Drop mic.
Right?
Drop the mic.
And that's what everyone's doing. Like, I'm so unique, but
Yeah.
my entire sense of self and my entire makeup and my appearance and my way of going about doing life and that is based on some copy-paste template that I saw in some influencer.
Generic.
Mhm.
You know, I have a question about children who are experiencing or parents who are experiencing certain challenges with their teenagers, for example. And the parents say, you know what? It's peer pressure. It's peer pressure. Whoever is around my child, this is their fault because they are influencing my child.
Oh boy. Let's get cancelled.
Yeah, let's go.
So, the moment a parent says it's your friends, my question to the parent is, why is it that friends that they just met in their life have more influence over them than you that has been there all the time from the time they were born?
Aina.
And that's the problem, right? When we experience problems at the time that they get into their teenage years, which is a difficult time already because it's volatile, there's so much going on, they're establishing their identity, they're becoming aware of peer pressure, of social structures, of norms, and everything else. So for the teenager going through that, it's a massively volatile period in their life, right? Which means that by that point, they must already be grounded. You can't try to find a grounding point when they in that volatile space.
Ah.
So, the best thing you can do for your child, the absolute best thing you can do for your relationship with your child, is make sure that in that early years, you become their trusted advisor. Not their disciplinarian or authoritarian, their trusted advisor. So that when things get difficult in life, when they have difficulties with their friends and their social circles or
They
at school
come
or whatever
to
it
you.
is, you their rock, you their sounding board, not their friends, not ChatGPT and not some online forum where they're going to get really terrible advice.
I'm so afraid that ChatGPT is going to start raising children.
Well, ChatGPT, there's already been a couple of cases about how it is that it actually actively encouraged a boy towards suicide,
Ah, I've read that study.
right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The moment you outsource your parenting because you're blaming society, then you don't complain when your child goes to someone else for parental advice.
Stop outsourcing your parenting.
Yes.
Yeah, that is very powerful because this whole issue, or this whole topic of self-esteem comes about as a result because I was thinking there's so many things telling us who we need to be.
Yes.
There's so many brands telling us what your identity should be. There's so many influencers saying, be like me, choose this brand. It's a collaboration of note.
Yeah.
Where do you find your voice in all this?
I think the one thing that was a sobering kind of realization for me as a parent is that the more I found that my children's behavior affected how I felt, it was a reflection of the fact that my self-esteem as a parent was low. And the more shaky my self-esteem was in my ability to show up as a parent, in my understanding of my role as a parent and the impact I have, the more shaky that was, the more I demanded compliance and the more I demanded discipline and cooperation and everything else. And I had a very interesting conversation with someone yesterday that talked about the difference between leadership and being a boss, right? And that's the thing. Parents are supposed to be leaders, and leaders don't control. Leaders inspire.
Yeah.
Leaders uplift. Leaders share vision and encourage towards that vision and instill a sense of purpose. But if you're only going to be controlling and maintaining discipline and maintaining boundaries and all of that, then when they really want advice that doesn't relate to the boundaries, they're not going to come to you.
It's a setup for failure.
It is.
It's a setup for failure.
And that self-esteem thing, if we don't correct it early in life, it will weigh us down for the rest of our life, and we'll constantly believe it's not me, it's them.
Of course. And low self esteem and the victimhood mentality.
Ooh.
Isn't that a powerful combination?
I think it's actually one and the same.
Mm.
If you have a low self-esteem, you will be in a victim mindset because you'll constantly need people to cooperate and to treat you a certain way and to make you feel better and to understand how things are affecting you and to cut you slack because, it's so difficult. Look at everything I've been through.
Mm.
What standard do you hold yourself to? Do you want to be better than that? Or do you want people to understand why they shouldn't expect you to be better than that?
Mm-hmm.
It's what you expect from yourself, right? That's why it's self-esteem.
Yeah.
Self-worth.
Mm.
Do you believe you're capable of rising above it, or do you believe that that's not defining you for the rest of your life?
Of course. I mean, people are stuck in a moment.
Yes.
And you stay stuck in a moment. And the question is, do you not want to emotionally evolve?
I think emotional evolution is unavoidable.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not, because life is happening whether you like it or not.
Yes.
And that's why you get people who are now elders, and okay, let's get cancelled again.
Yeah.
Where we have people who are elders who are still operating as if they have the emotional maturity of a 13-year-old. But because they're elders and they have certain privileges and certain kind of stature and authority and all of that in society and in the family unit, you're not allowed to challenge them about the fact that they're being immature.
Society says don't talk back to your elders. You're taught
Yes.
in your home. Don't talk back to your elders.
Yes, but then we have to define what elders should look like. Right? Otherwise, you end up creating a token. You're saying that the moment I reach a certain age, by default, I should be respected regardless of my behavior.
And you're teaching your children that regardless of how elders behave,
Yes.
It's actually then defeating the purpose, because you're trying to teach them what respect, integrity, inspiration through
Yes.
your example, and then you come around an elder who's the total test of everything.
Yes. And here's the thing, right? And I don't want to come across as if I'm saying it's okay to be disrespectful to your elders.
Of course not.
But the respect you give is a reflection of your self-respect. And respect and good manners are two completely different things. Just because I know how to be polite doesn't mean I respect you. It just means that I know how to be polite. And usually people who know how to be polite but don't respect others, they are manipulators.
Very true.
Right? So if I'm an elder and I don't hold myself accountable for how I'm imparting wisdom and structure and guidance and all of those good things that an elder is supposed to offer, if I don't hold myself accountable for how I'm showing up in that way, then it's hypocritical of me to demand to be respected as an elder.
Of course. You can't advocate for something that you are not. Walk your talk.
Yes. Now look at how the children experience that. If the elder is not conducting themselves with respect and dignity and maturity, and the children are demanded to respect them anyway, right? That feels like injustice.
Yeah.
And what causes children to rebel? When they feel like they're being treated unfairly. And then you as a parent, when you encourage this unfortunate balance of power, then you lose credibility as an advisor to your child.
Absolutely.
So why should I listen to you? Because when Nani or Dada or whoever it is treats me that way, you don't say anything, you keep quiet.
And what do they say? They literally say, you don't do it.
Yes.
I don't see you doing it.
Exactly.
And that's gotten us 1, 2 thunders, But we're like, then you go on social media and they say, stand up for what you believe in.
Yes.
And you're like, I'm still going to say it. You can do what you want, but you are not practicing what you preach. Why should
Exactly. And that's why we got this stupidity that we got going these days about cutting everyone off.
Cancel culture.
Cancel culture.
Ah, yes.
If I don't like what you're saying and you're not cooperating with me in why you think that I'm right and you're wrong, then you're toxic, so I must stay away from you. And the moment I start approaching life in that way, I'm not looking at substance. I'm not holding myself accountable for getting through to people that matter, for appreciating how it is that despite their shortcomings, they might have shown up for me over the years.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at any of that. So gratitude is lost. And again, you can't give what you don't have. So if I have a low self-esteem, the things that I'm not going to be able to give is respect, appreciation, dignity. My dignity is going to be up for sale. And when that is the case, then you make yourself available to all sorts of problematic behaviors and experiences and social circles because of your self-esteem that's low. So something that I see consistently in behavioral patterns relative to self-esteem is people who are given to reckless behavior or addictive behavior. They have a low self-esteem.
Okay.
And that's because they need something external to reassure them about how they feel internally.
Okay.
And how they got to that point is the interesting part, right? Because our self-esteem primarily is derived from our relationship with our father, not our mother. Our mother gives us a sense of belonging, and she teaches us how people work, how to nurture, how to show up emotionally, emotional depth, and all of that. Our fathers teach us how life works, how to solve problems, how to be practical about things without letting your emotions get the better of you. And if you don't have a healthy balance between the two, you're going to be like a bull in a china shop thinking that you're tiptoeing around when you're actually just smashing everything out of your way because you don't like it.
That is absolutely powerful. I don't think people realize that your self-esteem and your, all of your problematic behaviors stem from your relationship with your parents. What if
Yes.
people have absent fathers? No father to show them the way. What then?
It's always about what you choose to take from it, right? And that's why a lot of people will look at that and they'll say, I don't want to be like my father if he didn't show up for me. Fair enough. But you have a healthy role model that you can draw wisdom from to see how you should show up as a father instead, how you show up as a man, as an adult. And similarly for women as well, right? This is not exclusive to men and their relationship with their father. Women also get their self-esteem from their relationship with their father. And a very important clarification. It doesn't mean that your father is a bad person if you didn't have a good relationship with him. It just means that in your mind, at those early years, whatever it was, you assumed that you weren't important enough for him to give you the attention you wanted or needed. So if he might have uh, corrected you in a way that didn't feel nice, and there was someone else or something else around you that assured you that, yeah, no, he was too nasty towards you, that simple little experience can convince you that I'm not important to my father. And then that becomes your battle cry.
Wow. And that battle cry costs you greatly.
And it costs the people around you greatly as well. And if you don't realize how it is that you are imposing on others what it is that you received from someone else, you're just going to keep blaming fate, and you're going to blame destiny, and you're going to blame laws of attraction and all of that nonsense instead of recognizing that, hold on, there's something I'm doing that's always resulting in the same outcome. So I need to check what it is that I'm assuming is not problematic when in fact it is problematic relative to what I'm trying to achieve.
Right.
So if my father had good reason not to be available, right? Like, say, for example, in the Far East, for example, a common practice is the father leaves India or Bangladesh and those areas, and he goes to the Middle East to get jobs, right?
Yeah.
And then he's there because he's sending money home to his family. Is he a bad person? No, he's not. Do circumstances demand that because of job opportunities and whatever limited resources he's got at home, he has to go out across the world to go and find work to take care of his family? Yes. Now, if me as a child, I don't recognize that he's doing it for us, I'm going to say my father never had time for me.
Yeah.
And then if we have a cultural norm around us that's feeding this nonsense, like social media and like the influencers and the gurus and even the coaches and the therapists who say cut off your parents if they're toxic and they're abusive and all of that, they're going to leave you believing that you're right in the incorrect assumptions you're making about why your father didn't show up or why your mother wasn't there for you.
And to think that you have people walking around damaged by the perceptions of others, adapting it as your own. Very, very powerful. And yes, listeners, thank you for your feedback. We've got actually quite good feedback about the topic today, and I know that Mohammed's saying I can't even leave my car. I'm sitting in the parking lot. I'm late for work. So yes, that is the type of impact that Coach Zaid Ismail has on us, and we're going to keep it coming. You stay tuned to Eastwave FM, and please send in your questions. We're really keen to interact with you. 92.2 East Wave FM. This is Shamat, and we are in the midst of our interview with Coach Zaid Ismail. And I must say that, just looking from the listeners' feedback in that, these are things that we take for granted. We're thinking, we know what self esteem is. You should either feel good about yourself or feel bad about yourself. And knowing the why, knowing what shapes a person, knowing not just how do I get from A to B, but why did I reach this point A in the first place? What formed that. So, as we are beginning to conclude our conversation today, what are the key takeaways that we should be knowledgeable of, Zaid?
I think it's about understanding the difference between shame and conscience.
Shame and conscience.
All right, and the reason I say this is because when we have a low self-esteem, we usually interpret everything from the perspective of whether I'm going to be humiliated if people found out or not. As opposed to, okay, I recognize that that was something that I shouldn't have done, or I got that wrong, and understand why did I get it wrong so that I don't make the same mistake again, rather than just beating myself up because I mustn't do it again. Everyone has good intention. Everyone, even the worst person that you encounter, in their mind they believe they're justified in raging against society. It doesn't make them right, but in their mind their intention was informed by their belief that society deserves this from me because look what they didn't do for me. There's no space for me, right? And the same thing applies in relationships, in homes, in family units, and all of that, right? So when it comes to self-esteem, your self-esteem is reflected in what you hold yourself accountable for. If I'm willing to hold myself accountable for the impact that I've had on someone, and then I create space to be able to work through that when they're ready, not when I tell them they're supposed to be ready, then that reflects a healthy self-esteem. And like I said, it's in hindsight. So when we look back on how we dealt with things, and it doesn't leave us feeling as if we could have been better than that, then we know that that is a healthy value system to continue building on. But if we're constantly going through life having to explain to people why it is that they mustn't judge us, we're more invested in what people think of us rather than how effective we are at showing up. So I must hold myself accountable first before I want to hold someone else accountable for their behavior. And that's why we have to look at what's the value behind what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, who do I want must benefit from this. And when it comes to parenting, it becomes difficult because you have to protect your children from uninformed decisions. Now, if you're trying to be their friend and you're trying to be their buddy and trying to be popular and you're trying to be hip and cool and sharp on their feeds with them on social media and all of that, then are you establishing yourself as a credible advisor, as a credible sounding board, as a credible source of wisdom for them? Or are you just like immersing yourself in the same space because, like, at least I know what they're doing? The fact that they're doing something that could be detrimental to them, I wouldn't know because I don't see it as detrimental to me.
Of course. And we hear a lot of parents say that, they're doing it in the house.
Yeah.
He's not doing it outside. I know what my child is doing.
Yeah.
So how do you then advise a parent that that behavior is harmful and down the road you are choosing to be more of a friend than a parent? Like,
Yes.
what is the middle ground here?
And while you're being a friend, who's being their parent? Right? So, yes, you must be approachable and you must have an open space with them where you can have meaningful, sincere discussions about things. But don't ever water down the fact that you're the parent, you're the advisor, and they're the ones that need to learn from you.
Absolutely.
And you're equipping them so that they can go into the world and be beneficial, not be a social liability.
Wow. That is a big word.
Right?
Social liability.
But how many people show up in the public spaces these days and they expect the world to just shape around them? They go into relationships and they expect people to suddenly just compensate for everything that they've been through in life.
Absolutely.
That's not accountability and that's not self-esteem.
Please repeat the statement about accountability. What is it?
Accountability is... Oh, now you got me confused. Which one was it?
The biggest allergy?
Oh, yes. Accountability is the biggest allergy of the 21st century. People feel attacked the moment you ask them to be accountable.
Yeah.
The moment I tell you, listen, you have this impact on me when you behave this way.
Yeah.
That's not me saying you make me feel that way, right?
Yeah.
And that's the way we need to phrase and interact with people when we have a problem with them. Is that I don't like what you do because this is what it tells me and this is what it does for me and this is what it causes me to be responsible for that I shouldn't be responsible for. Now I'm giving them something to work with.
Yeah. Not
if,
you make me feel.
Now if I say that you making me angry.
Yeah.
No, you're not making me angry. I'm getting angry because I don't like your tone. Totally different thing.
Absolutely. Coach Zaid Ismail, it has been such a pleasure and an honor to have you on air once again. And we look forward to these interviews on a weekly basis. What is your parting shot to our listeners today?
Hold yourself to a higher standard. Hold yourself to a higher standard. If you don't like your life, question what it is that you're doing about it rather than blaming everyone for not cooperating.
Drops mic. I'm telling you, we have so much to think about and digest. Hold yourself to a higher standard. It has been an honor and a pleasure. You have an awesome week ahead, and we will see you again next week. Same time, same place here on 92.2 East Wave FM. Thank you so much, Coach Zaid Ismail.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure. So, yes, guys, there you have it. I've got much to digest and think about. I don't know about you, but yes, it has been an absolute pleasure.